Hello and welcome to United Life Centers for Spiritual Living. My name is Tasha Salinas, and I'm very excited to meet you today on 5/25/25, and it feels like it's going to be a magical day. So I don't want to oversell it, but we might have some magic go down today. So today what we're talking about is overcoming silence, meaning individual and collective liberation. So we're going to talk about that, but I want to warn you, this one's raw. This one's raw because you're going to see a lot of me talking about something light and, fun, abandonment wounds, and how we abandon ourselves by remaining silent or maybe pursuing conflict, but whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself. Again, welcome to this space. We are happy to have you. We're a loving and joyful community expressing spirit inclusively. I said that backwards, but that's kind of who we are as we get into it. I'd like to invite our senior minister, soon to be an installed senior minister, Reverend Casey Taylor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So usually, I'm gonna turn the mic on. I didn't do that before. Here I go. Turning the mic on. Yes. Usually I'll have Nina with me. I don't know where Nina's in, so I don't know if she's joining me later. But FYI, we've got drums in the back left corner. So if you want to grab a drum and sing along, we've been singing this song all month. I don't know, I think we might end up doing it again next month. I am going to do the music on June 8th. June 8th, yes. So we'll probably revisit these same songs. And part of it stems from me wanting to help create this experience of community singing, that as we overcome silence, collective liberation looks like singing together. And I myself did not wake up this morning with these same thoughts. I could have, but I didn't. So I'm grateful for the inspiration to be reminded of these words, so that from this day forward, I get to live consciously from this understanding. So I invite you to join me in this song. Thank you, Basil, for grabbing a drum. And anybody else in the room, feel free to play along, because I've been very intentional about choosing songs that are drum-oriented so that we can participate and really get that energy and that movement out from this experience of collective liberation that we're engaging in together. So this song, if you haven't heard me say this before, is a prayer that the Dalai Lama speaks to himself when he wakes up. And somebody said, let's turn that into a song. And they did. And here's the song.
Every day, think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not going to waste it.
Yes, with the tambourine. That's what I'm talking about. Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it. Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it. Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I've not gone wasted. Yes, y'all know how to end now. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Like there's something about, I try to harmonize, I can't, but there's something about just like losing yourself in it, you know? So I'm like harmonizing half of the thing off, and I'm like, yes, get into alignment, it just feels so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to the Dalai Lama, and thank you to whoever said, let's turn that into a song.
Yes.
Because as we talking about overcoming silence, that reminder is just, oof, it hits anyway. All right, so our session flow, this is just for me. I do this every week, but I talk about kind of what we're doing, what we're going to go through today. So sound back, did that opening and welcome. We opened and welcomed. Vision and mission, we're getting there. Then we're going to talk about our weekly and monthly themes. We're on a journey here, and this is the last message of this theme, so I'm really excited to kind of dig in and kind of leave a mark on the month of May, am I right? Anyway, and then we're going to have prayer and meditation, and we're going to hear from one of our friends here, James. Then we're going to have our special music, our main talk, and then conscious giving. Whew, I love that part, because we are abundant. We give because that's just who we are, right? And then we have announcements and our closing song. So that's what we're looking forward to today, and I'm happy that you're here with us. So our vision and mission statement, I like to say, and I didn't even check it, but I checked it and I said, this is who we are, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. So who we are are these things, what we do and how we do it. And so we like to say this out loud, because again, I'm gonna hone this, I'm gonna drive this point home about speaking. When we manifest words out of our body, we come into alignment with what's coming out of our body. So as we say who we are, we know we have a vision for who we are and who we want to be, and as a community, we join together and we express together with all of our voices and the beautiful harmony of our energies by proclaiming who we are. So if you feel so inclined to say it with me, I'd love to invite you to do so. Or if you're new here, and I get it, just sit here and see how this feels inside of you as we say it together here in the house. So, we are
a loving, inclusive community, joyfully expressing spirit. We honor, celebrate, and support each individual's awakening to their spiritual magnificence. We empower each other to create happy, healthy, abundant lives.
I love that. And why am I up here talking? I'm going a little bit rogue, but that's okay. We're uncuffed around here. So the thing about it is we honor, celebrate, and support each individual's awakening to their spiritual magnificence. I know who I am. I'm 44 years old. I've lived enough life to kind of know, I think, why I'm here, or at least I'm headed in the right direction. And I'm up here talking because I'm a speaker. Like, it's tattooed on my body from 15 years ago, and I charged ahead thinking I was going to go proclaim the good news to the world. And I ran myself into a brick wall. My life happened. And here I am, 15 years later, so very happy to express my spiritual magnificence in knowing that the stuff that I had to endure from that first call I got to speak up to this moment, so much transformation has happened. And so I'm thankful for this community and this space to be able to let spirit express through me. And so it's not for everybody to be up here talking in this way, but there is a seat for you at the table. And so this is who we are, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. So just know that you're welcome. When we say inclusive, we mean all parts of you, okay? Even the questioning parts. All right, got to decide on that. Preaching before she's preaching. So our theme, raise your voice. Again, synchronistically, I'm happy to be here for the month of May. We've been talking about expression. I've been talking about expression. And as I landed on this last week, I made the very smart move to speak on Sunday, last Sunday, and then go out of town, and then screech in at the last minute last night to speak again. Who does that? I did. So what I did was I pre-prepared what I was going to talk about with this theme, overcoming silence, individual and collective liberation. Well, I went to Chicago. I took my kids and we drove to Chicago to see family, to see my mother and my brother. And I'm not going to share all my issues, but there are issues. We don't heal from not being inflicted with wounds. And so when I made the talk and the talk points, I knew I had to leave a lot of wiggle room because intuitively I knew something was going to go down in the in-between. And stuff went down in the in-between. We're going to talk about that, but I'm really, really excited to be able to land this month with an exclamation point of overcoming silence. And we want to talk about liberation. And I know I'm not pre-talking the talk, but we're the home of the brave and the land of the free. If you want to talk about liberation, you're going to have to be brave. So I want you guys to understand and know what that means, the responsibility, the radical responsibility we have to raise our voice. So anyway, that's my introduction to the theme as we close out the theme for this month. We're really readying ourselves for what's coming up, because I don't know if you guys can feel it, but changes are afoot in our nation. And because I'm here in Oklahoma City, I'm very happy to be the heartbeat of the change and the voice of the awakening, or one of the voices anyway. So I'm going to invite our Reverend Casey back up here to help us to align ourselves with who we know ourselves to be and who we choose to feel ourselves to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. That was rad. And when you said introduce this concept of who we are, what we do, how we do it with our vision and mission statement, when I said that I heard myself as I was recording last week, I was like, yes. So yeah, we didn't have a conversation privately, but publicly within this space of Spiritually Uncuffed, I'd never thought about our mission statement in that way. And I love how we didn't choose to create a mission statement that specifically said who we are, what we do, and how we do it. It just turned out that way. And I love that as somebody new into our community, that you got to see it through your fresh eyes, receive it in that way, and share it with the community. So yes, please keep doing it. I'm probably going to take it from you. And thank you for that. So if any of you are familiar with this song, the way it works is in a round. So if any of you feel the need, the inspiration to do the round part, feel free. I'm only one voice. I can't do a round. So you have a choice. You can follow me, or you can spin it off and go into a round. The way the round works is the I am remembering part happens at a different time than the I am remembering who I am. So you can jump in at any point doing the I am remembering part when we are doing the I am remembering who I am part, and the other way around. You do you. We're uncuffed. You do things the way that you feel so inclined. You've got your drums in front of you, you've got your tambourines, and so I invite you to, as we move into our prayer and meditation portion, to really feel this mantra in your body, that the drum in your hand, or tambourine in your hand, serving as an extension of you remembering who you are. I am remembering who I am. 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 I am remembering who I am.
Everybody take a deep breath in and exhale. I'm so thankful for this right now moment. As we remember who we are and we prepare ourselves to hear from one of our friends. He's getting mic'd up. We're thankful for these moments that remind us to keep breathing. That's all we ever have to really do, right? Just breathe and show up. Come on up, you're good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, James Palmer. I'm a Seminole Creek, born in Louisville, Oklahoma, and I'm doing the science, mind, philosophy for 57 years, and still going strong. And each year it's just great. You learn everything, and you pass it on to someone else. Overcoming silence, individuality, and collective liberation. I have to tell you a story about a woman I know. I'll give her a false name, call her LaWanda. Now, she is a person who does not think, but when she says something, she says it when she's thinking. In other words, like when she went to the bar, this guy asked for a cigarette, and she says to him, "Well, you're drinking, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, well, you can drink, you are able to get your own cigarettes." So she doesn't say, "Keep it back here." She just says it out front. Or she'll say something like, "What's wrong with you?" You should like keep your mouth closed sometimes. But because she's out, I guess the word's called outspoken, is that a lot of people do not like her because she's telling the truth. And they don't like to hear the truth. So sometimes silence is golden, just to be quiet. Sometimes it can be negative. Breaking the silence can enhance trust, drive meaningful change, and foster a more inclusive society. We explore the barriers that keep us from voicing our truths and share practical strategies to overcome them. Join us to learn how embracing our voice can pave the way for personal empowerment and collective progress. Don't miss the opportunity to unlock the potential of your voice for a more connected and just world. A sentence affirmation: I break the silence, I break the chains of silence with courage. My voice empowers me and others to claim liberation as a whole group. Spirituality cannot exist in a vacuum, ignoring social conditions or the plight of humanity, and activities cannot hope to transform the social order in the absence of mature spiritual development. Both must grow beyond any form of privilege exclusively. In fact, they must embrace a reality that joins them in service to individuality and collective liberation. Here are some steps for overcoming silence. Embrace your voice. Start by recognizing the divine power in your thoughts and voice. Use affirmations and positive self-talk to build confidence in your ability to shape your reality and advocate effectively for your needs. 2, engage in spiritual practices. Incorporate practices like affirmative prayer, meditation, and visualization into your daily routine. These spiritual tools will help you align with the universe mind, gain clarity, and strengthen your resolve to speak out. 3, create safe spaces. Whether in your personal life or within your community, strive to create environments where open dialogue and expressions are encouraged. Support others in sharing their stories and experiences, fostering a culture of compassionate listening and mutual respect. Advocate for change. 4, use your voice to advocate for personal and social change. Engage in conversations, join advocacy groups, and participate in collective actions that align with the principles of unity, love, and justice. Remember, your voice matters and can contribute to the collective consciousness needed to drive transformation. 5, persist in your journey. Understand that breaking silence and advocating for change is an ongoing process. Stay resilient and persistent in your spiritual practice and advocacy efforts, knowing that each step you take is a step towards greater liberation and enlightenment for yourself and others. And that's what's happening today all over the world. People are speaking up. And there'll be more and more, which is great. And they're speaking their voice because they want to be heard, because what's going on is injustice to the people. And that I think there'll be more true Americans than the non-Americans who don't want certain things for other people that we all need in our life. You know, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, all these other stuff. And so I would like to lead us in prayer now. Sit back and relax. Oh, great Spirit of the universe, thank you for this day. Thank you for our lives, that we are privileged. More than 770,000 homeless people that do not have what we have, and that we are okay. We should not complain about anything because they're need our help, our prayers, our understanding, and that we know that God hears our prayers as we pray daily, and that we wish the whole world peace, unity, care, loving, and the pursuit of happiness. And those who agree with me, repeat. And so it is. Amen. A woman.
I say.
Let me get that mic from you, James. Brennan, for me. Thank you.
I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for that, James. I would love if you can get those points to Tasha for our social media this week so that we can get it out into the world beyond the people who were not in the room at the time, or maybe aren't watching this after the fact. So, because I definitely think those were good nuggets of wisdom, and it was nice to hear these points of how to overcome silence and operate from individual and collective liberation, and to know I'm doing all those things on your list. So, like, hooray for that. And I also appreciate how your prayer started with unhoused people, with homeless people. The concept of poverty has really, really been on my mind. I'm reading this book called Poverty by America that's so good. It's this, I've been listening to it. I've been listening to the audiobook, and it really explains the structure of American history and why the experience of poverty and homelessness has increased over the course of the last 30, 40 years, and gets into solutions to that. So it's really nice for me to really think about that, especially because this song that I'm about to sing is from the movie Harriet, where Cynthia Erivo plays Harriet in this movie. And for me personally, I was really resistant to watch the movie. Like, slave narratives, I feel like I've been there, done that. I know Harriet's story on the, sort of macro of it all, and I felt like watching this movie would be a just re-traumatization of watching a slave narrative. And what I didn't recognize at the time that I jumped to this conclusion that this movie was not for me, is that the woman who directed it, Casey Lemons knows how to tell Harriet's story in a way that it doesn't feel like just another story about somebody who experienced enslavement, that she really operated from this place of power, recognizing her power. And there was so much about Harriet Tubman that I didn't know before watching this movie. And Cynthia Erivo plays Harriet in the movie, and she also wrote this song. I didn't know that until I was like, who wrote this? She wrote it too. So she sang it, she wrote it, and she starred in Harriet. And I'm like in the middle of writing the Substack article of my love for all of this. So let's get into it. In the end, I'm going to invite you to stand up and participate. As the song says, you will know when that invitation comes. And again, like I said, I've been very intentional about choosing songs that go well with drums. So feel free to timbre your tambourines, play your drums, and do your thing. I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes on the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can, what I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gotta keep on keeping on, I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separated line. I'm waiting through muddy waters. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength I've got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I tried. Sure as stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river,
love the Valley of the Dry Bones, and there's a thing in there. You said, I feel it in my bones, and on that song. And there's something in the Valley of the Dry Bones, and they're dead carcasses, right? Skeletons everywhere. And the breath goes to the bones start to rattle, and then flesh covers the bones, and they pop up, and they come back to life, and there's just so much there. How the hell am I supposed to talk now? Casey, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Gosh. And also because I know what I'm talking about today, this one's kind of raw. And I'm just going to be real with you because I'm an emotional person. And I have a business. My business is called Divine Wellness. And part of that is emotional embodiment. That's what I say in the secular world. But we here who know that we are spirit, we know that embodiment, emotional embodiment, is spiritual embodiment. We don't just talk about it, we are about it because we're humans. We are those dry bones that have breath, that are alive. And aren't we thankful for that? And part of that is knowing that we're here for the experience of life. And so for me, just a little bit of setup for this. Everything that I say, and I said this every single week, is self-centric. So I'm going to tell a little bit of my story, but self-centric is not self-centered. You are the only one that lives life through your experience, through your consciousness, through your perspective. So I'm always here to be a mirror, to remind you that our whole reason for being is not to other the other, but to come back into centeredness of self. So who I know myself to be is I'm a channel. I'm someone that just has divine information about partnership. And I like to teach that when I'm teaching. This isn't quite teaching, but when I teach whole brain synchronization. I teach knowing yourself, your logic and your intuition, your emotion, and bringing it together and living from that place of knowing yourself and then that heart-mind coherence. In so doing, I have found myself magnetizing incredible relationships in my life. Some that came in that I thought were supposed to be forever. And I promised forever, but ended up divorced, right? So there's a process of mourning that life. And then as a single woman and a single mom, I'm dating people and I'm like, this feels divine. God, I know what I'm learning and what's going on here. This is forever. I know. Thank you. You're so good, God. And yet here she is again, right? How do I remain faithful to the dream and to the calling on my heart to advocate and communicate about divine partnership as a single woman? Dadgummit, that's my role. And I'm so happy to also remind you, this is all set up, just hear me out. I'm huge into astrology. Y'all know that I shared that a few weeks ago. Right now, for my chart, what's happening is there's Chiron, the wounded healer, and we all have it in our charts, but essentially what might have taken you down is also what's going to help you be that healer. You can't be a healer had you not gone through the things that you're helping others go through. So that in my chart right now is touching the moon, the emotion, the inner feminine. The transiting moon is touching my Chiron. So my deepest wounding is in the 11th house, which is my community. Basically, my hopes and dreams, my wishes are all on display, which are touching the sensitivities of my emotional self. So that's a little bit of background, right? So I went to Chicago. I left right after our service on Sunday, and I went to go see my mom and my brother and my family. The thing about it is being a speaker, I travel the country, I speak, I share the good news everywhere, the non-religious good news, the good news that you are powerful. But part of that is telling the story of my loved ones. How do I tell the story from a self-centric perspective to help everybody see themselves in my story as a mirror? I just advocate for my truth. And my truth is never to cut anybody down, but it is to be honest with my truth. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about is the truth. So the truth of the matter is there's someone in my life who I love everything. I believe that he and I are actually, I'm going to be weird to say it, but I believe that we are so meant on a soul level to be together because the way that we mirror each other, it guts us both and helps us to be better. That's the whole nature of relationship. Well, right now, I felt disrespected. And so I talked about boundaries a few weeks ago. I set a boundary and he honored it. But what does that mean when you set the boundary that hurts yourself? Do I pursue the love that I know is mine, or do I allow myself to remain sovereign in knowing that I'm worthy of speaking my truth and advocating for who I am and what I need? So I did that, and I'm a big girl, and I did that, and I'm okay. A little bruised around the heart, but I understand why. Because I'm here to share the message of unconditional self-love. So then, happy-go-lucky, I'm in the car, I go to see my mommy. And my history with my mother hasn't always been pristine. She has her whole bag of issues, don't we all? Right? And the mother she was during my childhood was the mother I needed her to be, but damn it, it helped to create some issues that I got to heal from. So driving up to Chicago, knowing that I could be getting into some stickiness, I was like, okay, here I am for this experience, because it had to happen. There was no fear. There was just a knowing that there's history with us. My mother was the most amazing that she's ever been. They taught my family, well, I don't know what kind of medicine she's on. I don't really give a care because it worked. And the first night I was there, she was like, yeah, I'm on this new medicine. She said it herself. I'm on this new medicine that I used to run from because it's what her mother had. And my family has a history of mental instability. The brand that I deal with is called anxiety. But my family, there's a lot of mental unwellness in my history. And so my mom she had fear for receiving help. Does this make sense? And she shared that very openly with me. I was like, dang, that's good. And it was a great conversation. The night goes on, and the next morning arises, and the kids are hanging out with my mom, and I was getting ready. I don't know what I was doing, but I did something like this. And there was a big, huge lump right here. And it's still there. And I was like, pause. Remember, I just said anxiety is kind of how I deal. Immediately, I thought I was dying. And I can laugh about it, kind of. But I immediately was faced with health anxiety. And I was like, oh my God. So that's why I had to come see my mom for one final goodbye, because I'm dying. I know it sounds funny, but that's how anxiety happens. And I'm learning that not everybody experiences it. But if you don't, I want to let you know it's feeling trapped in your own mind and unable to escape. And that's why I'm so adamant about your breath. Because all we ever need to do is just breathe. Even if the mind's going crazy, that's the blessing of claircognizance. I have a huge open psyche, and sometimes things go awry in there. That's okay. But I felt this, and I was like, and the kids are with my mom, and I was like, what do I do? I'm alone, I'm in Chicago, oh my God, all these, I'm stacking the chips against myself. And it was like, no, breathe, go see your mommy. And I cried. I was so, I was in this moment, I was just, so I stayed in her apartment building. It was a whole bunch of, it was assisted living, so there's walkers and stuff, so I was forced to slow down. And I know that's funny, but you've got 4 elevators, 36 flights of stairs. You're gonna be hanging with some people for a while, especially when they move really slow. And God was like, slow down, breathe. And I did, and I got to the 26th floor, and I opened the door, Mom, tried to hold my book, Mom, yeah? This weird thing. And so she said, what's up? I was like, I don't feel very good. I take her in the room, I told her, she's like, breathe, breathe. My mom's a doctor of psychology. She has worked me through so many panic attacks. And she's like, breathe, you're okay. Talking truth to me. And it started to lighten. I was like, whoo. And it was amazing. I didn't think much of it. The night goes on. My brother comes down. My aunt was honored for this whole thing. And I was like, man, that was amazing. And then even with the family, I'm seeing my mother interact in ways that I've never seen. So then we go visit a college, and my son is having the time of his life. It's perfect. Everything's so beautiful and perfect. And then we leave, and then my brother, who came down to visit, he'll tell the world he's going through a divorce. He's in his Audi right now. He had a blowout right in front of her building. His tire blew out. He didn't even want to see her. But when he was in a new city, and his car tire blew out, there was only one person he could go to, and who was that? His mommy. And believe it or not, Nathan, my brother, he's a straight dude, he's going through a divorce or whatever. My mom took him to a gay bar. They had the time of their life. My mom's not gay, my brother's not gay, it was just a nearby thing, and they loved it. They bonded in a way, they kind of were like, this is weird, because it is as it is. We're getting there, we're trying. But the fact that they bonded like that, so I'm driving home, I have 12 more hours, and I'm like, holy crap, look at what's happening. My mom spoke up. I spoke up when I was feeling uneasy. Nathan spoke up. My mom was able to care for both. She's got 3 kids, my sister, she wasn't there. But my mom was able to care for us in a way that she never was able to when she was younger. So that's a little bit about kind of what's going on. And so I want to let you guys know, as we talk about being new earth leaders, we get to be it. We get to be it. And so when we're looking at overcoming silence, what silences us? Okay, I'm a teacher. I'm just going to teach something. Give me one slide to teach something, okay? May you never forget this infinity symbol. I talk about the syzygy all the time. So this just has words to it, okay? We were all born with innate tendencies. We were born and we create tendencies, right? And from these tendencies, we take action. And the more we take action from those tendencies, we start creating patterns that are automatic, okay? This is called the Know Yourself to Lead Yourself tool. We start at tendencies, we take action, and for every action, there's a consequence that creates our reality. And from that reality, depending on our level of consciousness, we will come back down and tap back into our tendencies and take action and create patterns or operate from patterns that have already been created. Does this make sense? How we create our reality. Know yourself to lead yourself. What are your tendencies? Do you know your tendencies? So for me, some of my tendencies are health anxiety. When I feel unsafe, when I don't feel safe, I don't speak up. And as I looked at this thing, this is a clogged duct. And I was like, duct? A salivary gland duct thing. That's what I think it is. And I was like, well, if that's it, and if I'm energy, and if I believe, if Tasha chooses to believe that any physical ailments are a result of an energetic blockage, why on earth could some of my salivary glands be blocked? What is she not sharing? What is she not communicating? Why is the flow not flowing? Well, my self-protective tendencies are trying to control my life, trying to control the fact that I will die one day, like that fear. Do we see this? Do we see like why we have to speak up? So first of all, knowing yourself. The spiritual cost of silence. To truly know yourself is to recognize the spaces where you've muted your own truth for safety. And then gently turning that volume back up. So when we want to talk about overcoming silence, how have you silenced yourself? Is there a truth inside of you that you're running from? Maybe it's connecting intimately with someone that you perceived hurt you, or maybe they did hurt you. Maybe the fear of abandonment. And I wanted to talk about abandonment being the fear because the fear of death, the fear of loss, the fear of heartbreak, all of that feels like loss, abandonment. And energetically, the way I believe the root of abandonment, what I believe it stems from, is the original abandonment from source itself, from spirit itself. The moment that you were incarnated into your body, there's a series of abandonment there because in this lifetime, we are human. We are not just God. We are the embodiment of, but there has to be a separation. And that's why we were all instilled with abandonment wounds. We all have the capacity to experience fear. And it's an illusion. That's the thing. Fear is an illusion. What am I running from? And we're shifting our paradigm. That's why we keep saying the things for 55 years plus, right? We learn by repetition. So when we understand that, hey, hold on. I feel like I'm being silenced. Who's silencing me? Because my birthright is expression. So if I feel that someone's silencing me or if I'm silencing myself, I need to slow down and listen. And listen why. The point of knowing ourselves is to get back down to 0 point. To where we're not triggered anymore. To where we can walk into, hold on, there's something here, and I need to go get it checked out. But I might not because it's fear. Abandonment, I might die. Abandonment, not speaking up to my mom because she hurt me. Or whatever it is. Whatever it is we get to search ourselves. And once we do that, we get to trust ourselves. Because you know I love it. Know yourself, trust yourself, express yourself. And this is always the pivotal point of trusting yourself. Avoidance isn't enlightenment. There's many times, well, I don't care. I don't really care. Do you? And that's fine if you don't. Like if you've done the work, because if it didn't feel like love or zero balance or you're just like unaffected, if you're still affected, you're maybe not at 0 point, and maybe we understand that there's something more there. For me, with the romantic partnership that I felt abandonment from, I was abandoning myself by trying to chase what I know this to be. But the truth of the matter is I'm worthy of respect. I'm worthy of being met in that same sovereign energy. And so avoiding that isn't enlightenment, it's not detachment. Self-trust is eroded every time we override our truth to maintain false peace. So what is peace? It's unlearning suppression in self, maybe in relationships. Self-trust is forged in the fire of uncomfortable truth, I wrote down. Because unless you're willing to walk into that connection perhaps and say, I need help, or actually, I don't like the way you were speaking with me. There's something that has to happen as you speak up. You have to trust yourself. You get to trust yourself. You have the opportunity to trust yourself. Trusting yourself means reclaiming your voice, not just for survival, because when you don't speak up, you're shackling or allowing your heart to be shackled. Because once again, even if that person is untrustworthy, you silencing yourself, it's not liberation. It's speaking up. I was writing down like just the thoughts and ideas, and in me, I said, what needed to be acknowledged? I asked myself, what in me needed to be acknowledged? Mirroring. Mirroring. I felt abandoned. And there's a difference between abandonment and sovereignty. When I'm sovereign, I don't abandon myself. I affirm, like James said, I know who I am, and I affirm my truth. That if it's my mother, I'm a child, I'm a person, I'm a human, worthy of mending that relationship with my mom, whatever that needs to look like. But speaking up is kind of how we were able to shift our relationship from trauma to now to where I felt safe to really open up my fears with my mother. And it started with me articulating a boundary, speaking up every step of the way, to where now I got to blow off all the boundaries and come to my mom and ask for help. And she didn't make it right, but just knowing that I wasn't alone, knowing that there was someone out there for me really helped me to exhale and realize, oh wait, a warm compress and this thing goes away. Like I can make things bigger than they need to be. But again, that responsibility of self-trust is knowing who I am and knowing why I feel the discomfort on the inside. Because I'm manifesting the discomfort by reiterating a pattern of abandonment. Okay? I promise I'm going somewhere. When we talk about expressing or trusting ourselves, people start to feel safe around us because we're steady. When the water in the harbor rises, all boats rise. And others around us begin to grow, and then we get to express ourselves speaking as sacred rebellion. When I was looking for things to talk about in quotes, there was a million Ernest Holmes quotes that I loved. But I have a special affinity for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he says right here, the silence of good people is more dangerous than the brutality of bad people. And this was one of our civil rights leaders. Might I remind us that there comes a time when silence is betrayal. And when we know ourselves, we know that we don't self-betray. We don't bite our own tongue until it bleeds and then blame somebody else. No, we allow these reflections to be mirrors to ourselves. And that's how we let them. That book I love so much, the let them theory. Let them, because they are sovereign just as you are. And they have their journey that they get to learn through just like you do. And the thing about it is when one person speaks truth, it makes it safer for others to unmute as well. I posted a picture of me on Facebook, and you're welcome to find it or whatever. It was before and after. I used to be 270-ish pounds. And I loved who I was when I was at that weight. Because I finally allowed myself to figure out why. What was I burying under all of that food, all of that angst, all of that fear, all of the everything? What was I doing? I was abandoning myself. Because the one thing that gives me joy right now, if you know me in person, you know this, is to push my body to the limits. I love to lift weights. I love to roller skate. I love to do these things. But goodness, if I didn't start speaking up and allow the ugly to come out of me, I would have never found that inner child who never got the freedom during her childhood to speak up. And I told you, and my mom loves it. She feels so honored when I say, Tasha Renee, this is what my mom used to say, Tasha Renee, your mouth is going to get you in trouble one day. She loves it. Because she'd say, hell yeah, I said that, and it did. I'm like, it did. But that's also what makes me relatable. Because we're all like that. We all have moms, people, who have said things to kind of get in our way and stunt our growth. But how do we know our strength? if we don't have something to grow from or grow through. That is what we get to do here on earth. That's why whether you like it or not, you volunteered to be here as a new earth leader. And I'm not going to stop saying it. It sounds crazy. They already thought I was crazy. But again, I got this crap tattooed on my body. It said speak. I got it tattooed on my body when God was like, you are chosen. No, but my mouth is always going to get me in trouble. To where people are always reminding me to trust myself. I'm like, I'm not here talking about death does not exist. There's nothing more that I need to do than trust what comes out of my mouth. Because even though it doesn't make sense, it makes sense. Am I right? Do we know spirit? Do we know that God is everything? Or do we just quack it out like a platitude like we did for the first 2,000 years? And no offense, because I'm a former pastor in the Christian church, and I love dismantling religion. I just love it. And not for anybody else, but for me. Because you don't mess around and quit your job and create a business and invent words and phrases from a place of non-self-trust or from a place of being afraid to say the thing that's a little progressive. You just do it anyway. Because I want to live. My intention is to live so fully from my heart that it speaks for me. That I know that expression is embodiment. That I trust myself so much that even if I say something that's a little off color, there's still enough love that will redirect me back to where I belong, inside and outside of me, to where I feel safe to advocate and just know that there's always going to be love that's returned to me. Liberation doesn't come from being seen. It comes from no longer hiding. If I continue to don the cape of victim mentality, I'm going to manifest things to keep me victimized. And for Tasha, that was muting my mouth. And I would like to invite you guys to see, where have you been muting yourselves? For fear of abandonment by another, or even yourself. Maybe you're a little different now than you used to be. You can change your mind. There's a difference between something being taken from you and you taking a stand and making a different choice. So the heartbreak fella, he's still there. I still love him. But as I cut that cord and I advocated for my truth, someone way out of left field showed up. So tune back in for the next saga of my love life. But there's someone here who was like, whoa, who was doing all the things I knew in my heart that I was worthy of. And I'm letting go. I'm letting go of the titles. I'm letting go of all of it. And I sort of believe that I'm here to live the life of my dreams, regardless of what it looks like. But I just know that I'm worthy of being treated well. I'm worthy of speaking to my mother. I'm worthy of allowing my mother to soothe me in moments of unrest. So when we talk about overcoming silence, it always comes back to you. It starts with you. It starts with you. Listening to yourself. And this is something I say to myself all the time, even when I don't feel it. But the more I say it, the more I feel it. So you're welcome to join me down there on the bottom in saying that I am no longer available for my own suppression. I honor spirit in me by giving it my voice. And again, that's why I'm in front of you right now. Not because I have it all figured out. I have a whole bunch of notes that I didn't even talk about. But what was meant to be said was said because I no longer suppress my own voice. I honor spirit in me by giving it my voice. I know the people in this room and the people who are watching this online were meant to hear at least a portion of what I shared. And that is how we all liberate. I just trust and I know. And I just believe. I love. And if I said something offline, off color, find me and we'll talk it out. That's the beauty of human interaction. That's divine partnership. And I'd love to continue playing in that with you as we lead into, I'm going to pray us out, as we lead into remembering to know ourselves, to trust ourselves and express ourselves. I said a whole lot. But what I do believe and what I do trust is that whatever seeds were planted in your heart, or whatever messages you had to hear, you heard them. And what I know, the way that I like to pray, is to take a moment and just rest. And I love to close my eyes because it feels good to close all the visual and to come back into my center and take a deep breath in. And on my exhale, I be still. And I know that the God that's in me is listening and attentive right now, because I get to live from a heavenly perspective in knowing that even the hard times are meant for the growth and refinement of everybody. And so I choose to align myself with truth and surrender. And everybody in this room, I honor the souls that are in this room that brought themselves here for the message that may not even be apparent, but may sprout leaves in the coming days. There's something about liberation. There's something in our hearts that beat for freedom. In this right now moment, may we be aligned with liberation. May we allow the overthinking to be released. And when I pray, I say, remind me of the joy of my salvation. There's no one outside of me that liberates me. I liberate myself. And with that, I take a deep breath in. And on my exhale, I affirm the prayer by saying amen. And you can choose to close this prayer however you would like, but I know my friends love to say, and so it is. Thank you guys so much for that. And now we're going to move on over to our conscious giving, and we're going to share the affirmation. So that's a big, powerful energy move, and because I was speaking, that's why I felt it. But I love to be in this place of knowingness, and knowing who I am, and knowing that my voice is an offering, and also any abundance that flows out of my hand is multiplied and blessed. So from that place of knowing, I would like to have you join me in saying, I live in abundance. I am filled with abundance. I give from abundance, and it transforms my life. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Rev Casey to come back up here and close this out. Not close this out, but
Almost close this out. We're almost there. This is, again, another drum song. Nina, if you would love to join me, you are welcome. This is a nice little call-in response thing. So, are you bringing me a drum on your way back to the table? Is that what's happening? No? But yeah, I do want you to. That was my passive-aggressive way of saying, please bring me a drum. Yep, that one right. It doesn't matter. Either one. Whatever one Sean doesn't want, I'm good with.
He's already got one in his hand.
So this is a nice little call-in response where I'll sing the first line and Nina, invite Nina and the rest of you to sing the second line. And let me put this mic back on the stand for a second, because let me give you a sense of what the drum usually works like in the song. So I'll start drumming and then we'll sing it. So it goes like this. It goes like this.
our announcements. So it is coming up Saturday. Saturday is our 70th anniversary and the installation of Rev KC. So that is Saturday the 31st at from 3 to 5 p.m. I am tripping over my words upstairs. From 3 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, right here at Project 3810. And the theme is Transformers, Care Bears in Disguise. It is our joy to be able to celebrate and install our senior minister, because that's who they are to us, Transformers. It's amazing. Care Bears in Disguise is what we do. Also, if you'd like to donate to the congregational gift, get a hold of me, or if you're online, shoot me a direct message. I'll make sure that gets taken care of. And we will be presenting an amazing gift to our lovely Rev Casey. Afterward, we have our after party with purpose, from 3 to 5 and 5 p.m. onward. All proceeds will go back to Big Descriptions. I'm gonna ruin it. They are they're, help me out here. Can you tell me again? What is their thing?
Educating children.
Educating children.
Underserved, undereducated children.
Underserved, undereducated children. I promise. I ask every week. I'll get it next week when I know how to share it. I know how to share the announcement. It's just a lot in the brain. Anyway, all I know is I'm getting barbecue. That's it. Also, all the proceeds from the brewing company also go to Thick Descriptions. So we're gonna honor Casey, and then we're gonna blow it out for a good cause. That's the point. All right, and then we have we have more announcements. Upcoming events with Armand and Angelina. Native Food Play Shop on Tuesday at 7 p.m. June 18th. So take note of that. And then on Friday, June 21st, just a few days later, you have Magical Musical Comedy Show. Both of those have a suggested love offering of $20 right here at Project 3810. And then that following Sunday, they will be speaking and doing a musical performance here at the Spiritually Uncuffed. That's free. So there's no suggested donation. We just want you here to experience this. So this is kind of the stuff we get to do and meet new friends in the community and express spirit and experience spirit being expressed.
The play shop is on a Wednesday. I don't know if it's the 18th, but it is a Wednesday.
It is. It is.
Wednesday the 18th.
Yes.
That's on me. I made that. All right, Wednesday the 18th. We'll get that updated. And then announcements. We have our main piece with your inner shit talker. That's our 90-day program, and it's rolling. So if you're still interested, you can always join in. It is a 90-day program led by our own Rev KC. Sundays at 8 p.m. in the conference room here at Project 3810. And then I love me a good podcast plug. On Thursdays at noon, we've got Rev KC's podcast with their cousin, Be Lovely, and that is Thursdays at noon, like I said, live streamed on Facebook and on YouTube. And there we are. Actually, we're going to slide on in. I thought I had 10 more slides of announcements, but I guess
No. Which is cool. Like, we're not doing too much.
Yeah.
We've got stuff going on in July and after that, so, that'll be what it is. And again, this is a big drumming song. I forgot my drum right now. But this is a drum song. Feel free to drum your drum. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Drum your drum.
All right. So, starts a cappella sometimes, depending on where you are. But we're going to do it a cappella because I got no band behind me, so that's just going to be how it is. Here we go. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the strength of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. I have only ear for God. No more
right. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
Yes, y'all really know how to end the song. I'm with it. Have the best week ever.
All right, was that goodbye or?
It
no?
could be whatever you want.
All
You
right.
got something to say? Say
If
it.
you're still with us, go ahead and sign the guest book, share a prayer request in the treasure chest, or if you're online, you can shoot us a direct message of a prayer request. We are so happy to partner with you in that prayer, affirming that prayer that you have. And then also, if you're in the house with us, take a bookmark and or Signs of Magazine to learn more. Spoiler alert, that's how I learned a little bit about who we are and what we're doing here, is by reading a little bit about it. So with that being said, I hope you have the best week ever. Thank you.